Hello everybody, welcome back to British Stand. Some breaking news for you, and you're going to be seeing some mass protests erupting in Epping tonight after the court's verdict. Yes, of course, the Epping Migrant Hotel, the Bell Hotel, of course, in Epping, has seen over the last couple of weeks mass amounts of protests outside of it after a young girl was, of course, sexually assaulted by an Ethiopian male. Now, following the mass amounts of protests, the High Court ruling said that this hotel should be closed. However, Labour decided to appeal that verdict. And actually yesterday, we got the news and got the coverage that they were, of course, they'd said it's in the public interest that illegal migrants should be put first ahead of the people of Epping. Now, the government has just been handed a significant victory in the ongoing legal battle over the hotel and the accommodation in Epping. The Home Office's attempt earlier this month in the proceedings was blocked by Mr. Justice Eyre, who dismissed their bid, ruling that the department's involvement was not necessary, that the decision has now been overturned. Essentially, Lord Justice Cobb declared that Justice Eyre's ruling was quote-unquote erroneous, and today, three of the country's most senior judges confirmed that the Home Office does, in fact, have a constitutional role relating to public safety, a role that makes their participation essential. Lord Justice Bean delivered the summary judgment, made it clear that this case is not about debating the merits of the government's policy on asylum seekers or the wider use of the hotels. Instead, it's strictly about whether the Home Office has a legitimate stake in the legal dispute over Epping's Bell Hotel, and the judges agreed that it does. Essentially, this verdict means the arguments put forward by the Home Office, which had previously been thrown out, are now back on the table. They will be heard and considered by the court, potentially altering the outcome of the entire case. The government is now waiting to hear whether its wider appeal against the injunction itself will succeed. That injunction, granted to Epping Forest District Council, temporarily blocked asylum seekers from being housed at the Bell Hotel on the grounds of an alleged breaches of planning rules. Labour, for its part, though, has repeatedly vowed to bring an end to the use of hotels and migrant accommodation, but the party is under growing pressure to shut them down earlier than planned after a wave of anti-migrant protests in the country. So now, where do we stand? The legal battle over the Epping Hotel has taken a dramatic new turn, and the Home Office has been brought back into the fight, and the stakes for both the government and the local community have been raised. So when we were thinking that they were out of the race entirely, however, now, of course, they are back in it, and then can, potentially, if the court does deem so next year, when we go forward, can, of course, open this hotel once again to illegal migrants. Now, I have a feeling that something big is going to be happening over the next few hours. I think people will be on their way now to Epping and outside that hotel to continue protests. It must be, and it will be the case, probably, that is going to happen. This is huge, and we've seen the outrage last night, of course, after they simply went out and just, the Home Office, when they said that the illegal migrants' rights are in the public interest more so than, of course, the residents of Epping. And now, after this ruling, and after the Home Office now being back in the race again and back to potentially try and keep it open, we can see something big happen tonight outside Epping. It's going to be big, and I'm interested to see what happens. But we'll be following it very, very closely here on the channel. We're going to see what happens, but I have a feeling it's going to really, really heat up outside the hotel today. Let's take a little look at some reaction, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what people are saying with regard to it. I have no idea why my Wi-Fi is pretty laggy today. I'm not so sure as to why it's happening. I just keep on getting an alert saying my Wi-Fi isn't working working. I literally pay for the best Wi-Fi in all of my neighborhood, so I'll be having a word with this. I've had some problems over the last 2 days, so do apologize if I am dropping frames. It's super frustrating and ruins all my live broadcasts if the Wi-Fi isn't working. Official Zarko says, Epping, I hope you're all in effing uproar. Make sure you let them know what they've caused. This government has chosen war against us, so effing war it is. Someone is making a lot of money from the illegals. Well, you know, they've already chose their place. And as we said earlier on, guys, we looked at this, by the way, and as I said, the Conservatives are obviously calling it out as well. Keir Starmer's Labour government thinks the rights of illegal migrants are more important than the rights of local people. So there you go, you can see that. And that is certainly the case, and they're back in the race. They are back in the race that could potentially see them open this hotel once again. They don't give a damn. They don't care whatsoever. Is this the moment we finally pop as second-class citizens in our own country? The Americans would help Vance is hinting loudly. Jackie says, didn't expect anything else when you have a judge who is a Labour supporter. They are all corrupt as each other. They're rotten to the core. You're right. Some of these flags. Maureen says, what a disaster. This was always on the cards. These lefty wankers on the bench, it wasn't going any other way. If they had lost, the skid mark was going to change the law. Neil says, Keir just doubled down on the residents of Epping. Oh, it's going to go off tonight. It really is going to be going off tonight. It is frustrating. I do feel for the people. Can the council appeal the appeal? I don't think so, but they can certainly fight there. They're going to be back into the sort of fight, if you like. This is what this court ruling means, is that they're going to be able to, you know, have a chance their day in court, of course, to try and get this to be opened once again, because it was kind of shut down completely earlier this month. It was a win for Epping. It was a win for Epping Forest Council as well. But now it looks like something, you know, they're back into it, and their agenda is to keep this thing open. They don't want it closed. They want to keep it open. They want the show to go on. Mark says, if you're going to Epping, please maintain the discipline. Let the left kick off. Being aggressive, maintaining discipline is at the English heart of how we win. Yeah, troops, if you are going down to Epping, or anyone who's on their way to Epping, make sure it's peaceful, troops. That's what matters. You know, it was the peaceful protest that, of course, got this in the first place. So always remain peaceful. Otherwise, you just give them absolutely everything and shut down this movement. Mitch says, extremely disturbing. This judge is total far-left, liberal, radical judge. I think when you wake up one day, well, I think everybody's woken up, but I think people do understand that really they don't want this thing to shut down. They want it to stay open. That's the way they are. Chris says, I'm absolutely disgusted. We need to get these CUNTs out now. Well, earlier on today as well, by the way, when we seen this reaction, of course, I seen this post come up on social media from someone in Epping. And essentially they said this. They went, oh, wrong one. Where is it? Or at least I did have it earlier. Oop. Or maybe not. Maybe I don't have it. Essentially, it was a post from someone in the area stating that parents had agreed that, of course, they were going to be going out and patrolling the streets and making sure the place was safe. But it's important to note here that this verdict doesn't necessarily mean now that illegals are going to be moving back in. That's not what we're talking about just yet. This is simply just going to be allowing them to, of course, have their time to then appeal it. So they won the right to essentially appeal it in a way, if you get what I mean. So in basic terms, Epping Council versus the Bell Hotel. The council got a court order and an injunction to stop the Bell Hotel being used to house asylum seekers, arguing it breaks the planning rules. The Home Office blocked at first. The judge originally told the Home Office it wasn't needed in the case and couldn't put its arguments forwards. However, today we've seen the appeal change that, and 3 senior judges have now said that the decision was wrong because the Home Office does have a role in public safety and asylum housing. And now what that means is that the Home Office is officially allowed back into the case. That means its arguments previously dismissed will now be heard in court. This could change the final outcome of whether asylum seekers can be housed at the Bell Hotel. And in terms of the bigger picture, this is not about whether asylum policy itself is right or wrong. It's only about whether the Home Office should have a say in local cases. But it gives Yvette Cooper and the government more influence moving forward, which is seriously, seriously scary. And I am expecting something big tonight. I'm expecting something to kick off tonight. People are pissed. But let's have a look and see anyway, troops. That'll be it for now. Do let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And we'll be back later, potentially, with some footage from the Epping protests, because it's probably going to be kicking off tonight.